This is Sam. Welcome to the Relentless Man. Today, we're going to talk about why you're not losing fat even though you work out. Have you ever felt like I'm working out and I'm still not losing fat? I'm eating my calories, I'm still not losing fat. I'm training 5 to 6 days a week, I'm still not losing fat. I'm doing ridiculous amounts of cardio and I'm still not losing fat. The question is you have to ask is how can someone work out consistently and still not lose fat? The reason can be varied. And let me break this down for you. What happens when you are working out so hard and still not losing fat is at the end of the day, it comes down to a few things. Fitness to me looks like a tripod. On one hand, it's nutrition. On the other hand, it's workout. And on the third hand, it's recovery. If any one of those three things messes up, you don't lose fat. And the universal law of fat loss is calories in versus calories out. And calories are very sneaky because once you do not pay attention to what you're eating, the mistakes can compound and it will not give you the results. Our body is amazing at adapting, and that's what happens. So, the mistakes I was making, let's talk about some of the mistakes I was making. I was doing 6 days worth of cardio, 90 minutes each. That's a lot of cardio, low intensity, steady state cardio, but still a lot of cardio. I was eating really low calories, like 1500 calories, even though my metabolism was way higher than that, which is 2500 calories. Very low amount. That's itself is a very high amount of calorie deficit. I was doing so much cardio, I was putting in so much effort and stress on my body. So, what ended up happening was constantly in my body, there was inflammation, there was cortisol, the stress hormone, there was less recovery because I was sleeping less. And all of this compounded to me stalling and having a plateau because my body was constantly in a recovery phase and in a survival phase because it could not get out of the recovery phase. It could not recover enough. Here's how I fixed the whole thing. What I did was at the end of the day, what nobody wants to hear is calorie in, calorie out, which is calorie deficit. Nobody wants to hear about. Now, fat loss ultimately requires your body to use more energy than you are consuming over time. The gym can help create that deficit, but the calories you burn during a workout aren't as massive as people imagine. And it is incredibly easy to eat those calories back. One small snack here, that's calorie gain. And if you eat it from outside, that's processed food, which takes a lot longer for your body to digest rather than taking whole foods like whole grains or meat like chicken breast or meat, fish. These are whole foods. And if you just restrict yourself to whole foods, your body has a much more easier way to digest that and give signals that, hey, body, you don't need that fat anymore. You can start reducing it. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to how comfortable are you willing to stay in that period of uneasiness where you're losing this fat. Because the signals that you are going to get are not going to show up on your scale. They're not going to show up on your mirror. There maybe they will show up if you weigh, if you measure your waist, but what it will show up is in your calendar. Because at the end of the day, the biggest realization for me was you have to have a very good tracking system. Everybody and every gym trainer can teach you how to do that, but what they really rely on is a tracking system. Are you getting stronger week by week? Are you losing fat week by week? The only thing that you can rely on is how many number of days have you stayed consistent. And if you can stick to that one thing rather than putting your faith in the mirror and discouraging yourself, or rather than putting your faith in the scale and discouraging yourself, the one thing that you need to really, really look for is how many days can I consistently eat in deficit until I start seeing real results. Because when it comes to fat loss, the results are lacking way behind. And it massively depends on what you eat and having a good, healthy eating habit. Let me break that down. So, how do you actually eat well? You don't eat that by saying, oh, I'm just not going to eat this. And I'm not going to eat pancakes, which I love a lot. And because I'm not going to eat pancakes, I'm going to get there. As a matter of fact, the moment I say pancakes, what are you thinking of? Pancakes. That's the problem. The moment you start to avoid something, the moment you start craving that. What you really need to do, and this is the whole point of me making this channel after so much trial and error, this channel is not about fitness or fat loss, it's about behavior change. Because what I saw in my lifelong journey and my lifelong struggle about losing fat was at the end of the day, what I had to do was behavior change my environment. The way I'm designed is I had to change my entire environment in a way that automatically pushes me towards reaching my goal rather than it restricts me. So that means that, hey, if I'm going to go to the gym in the morning at 6 a.m., I have to prepare everything in the night. If I'm going to eat, I have to have my meals prepared beforehand. If I'm going to eat healthy and whole foods, I have to have the groceries every single Sunday. It cannot be that I leave the house or leave the thing or leave the schedule without having any one of those things prepared. If and at the end, I just have to look at the number of X's that I mark on my calendar. Can I do it for 10 days consistently without breaking? And even if I break, I'm not going to be hard on myself because that is self love. When you start being hard on yourself, you start hating yourself. I want you to parent yourself, but be a good parent, not a bad parent. Don't reprimand yourself. What you need to do is put consequences for not sticking to your schedule, and but with love. And how do you do that? If you miss one day, no problem. The next day you try again. Rather than making a missed day into a whole missed week, I want you to try again and not to overcompensate for the day that you missed. Rather, do it for the day that you actually are doing the bare minimum for that day. Which is why what you need to also design is, hey, what is your minimum acceptable result? In technology we have something called MVP, which is minimum viable product. What is a minimum viable product? The moment anything starts working, we don't add extra features on it, we just release that. And once you release that, then the customers get to try and enjoy it, and that's how we get to, with user experience, we get to design the whole system. That is exactly how you want to deal with your fat loss system. What you need to do is create a minimum viable product. Okay, even if it is 100 calories less than your minimum, let's say I'm at 2500 calories maintenance and I eat 2400, I'm still doing fat loss with 100 calorie deficit. That is my most minimum and the easiest. The days that are the hardest, I go over there. But the days that I'm feeling motivated, the days that I want to push harder, I can eat at 1500 calories and go push 1000 calorie deficit. That's how you get to fat loss. The more days you can stay in your deficit, the more days that you stop being hard on yourself, and the faster you can get back to the point of not messing up. That's what create real fat loss, because that's behavior change. And the if you have a sweet tooth like me, stop buying stuff from outside that are processed. Buy fruits that are natural sugar. Buy protein snacks. I mean, I don't promote any one of these things, but hey, you can still buy them. Okay, now that's the reason why none of these things that you do are doing are working. I want to take a tangent here. I want to go into one of the most important things, even after you are doing all these things that can still sneak up on you and ruin all your progress, which is NEAT. NEAT is non exercise activity. So during the day, after your gym and your workout, the amount of work that you do, your body produces the movement that also produces calorie, that also consumes calorie. For that, what ends up happening is you can train hard and still become less active throughout the rest of the day. You're tired after the gym, you sit more, you take fewer steps, you move around less. Your body can subconsciously compensate for some of the calories that you burned. This is why you paid more attention to steps in daily movement. Do the gym in the morning, then put a small block of maybe walking outside or doing a 20-minute walk on a treadmill in the night. What that does is it automatically gets your system going, metabolism going, just that you don't have to run, you don't have to do jumping jacks, you don't have to do treadmills and at 3, you just brisk walk. That's just natural, and it automatically helps you reduce that belly fat, the most stubborn fat that is there you know and here's where I want to end. I want to keep it short. I want to summarize everything for you. You could be eating right, you could be working out a lot, you could be sleeping well, but when you are doing all those three things in conjunction and you're eating in your calorie deficit, that's when fat loss happens. And on top of that, another big bracket around that is you have to make sure that you are not slowing down the rest of the day in your activity. So you have to be conscious about that. Once you have that system, then what you need to do is you need to design your day around that, preparing everything beforehand. And once you have prepared everything beforehand and your system has nutritional vegetables and you have taken care of your snacks when you get hungry, you have taken care of when am I going to go to the gym? Have I prepared everything? Are my meals prepared? That's when fat loss happens. So, see, it's a complex system, but anybody can do it. Here's what I want you to do. If you are stuck in your fat loss journey, I'm going to link a diagnosis for you. It takes 30 seconds to 45 seconds to complete. I want you to complete that diagnosis. It will lead you to exactly why you're messing up right now. It's just 15 questions, very simple to answer, multiple choice. Answer that, get to know where you are messing up. It will tell you exactly where you are messing up. And at the end of the day, if you need more help, you can book a call with me, or you can purchase the solutions with it, so you can do it by yourself. I'm going to see you in the next one.